Okay, great. Well, we are here to talk about how with CSI and Syteline you can move your books to Birst, which is Infor standard BI analytic platform. First, a couple intros. Maybe I'll pass it over to you, Adam and Alex, to introduce yourselves.
Sure. So my name is Adam Grimes. I'm the CFO at Watchfire Science.
Hey, there you are, buddy.
Hey everybody, this is Alex Meal. I'm the controller at Watchfire Science, and I've been here roughly about 7 years. So good to see everybody.
And then I'm Bill, the CEO of Agile Dragon Group. We're a burst-focused solution group, consulting group. We'll get more into that. And take it away, Craig.
And I am Craig, head of customer success for Agile Dragon Group. So a little more about what we're here to talk about. I think I can't tell you more than you already know that financial reporting off of Syteline and CSI is probably just no other way to say it, but probably just too hard for a variety of reasons. Tried to capture a few of those, especially around what Adam and Alex, what you've been seeing with your platform and some of the reasons why you were looking at a tool to modernize and get more out of your both financial and all of your ERP system data to use for the sake of your business. So that's what we're here to talk about. I think we'll go into a little bit of background on Watchfire, your business. So again, a little bit more background on us, Agile Dragon Group, and then really get into a little more details on this. What the before was for Watchfire, what you were looking to improve upon, and how we're working on doing that with Birst. And as mentioned, we'll conclude with a demo.
All right, so a little bit about us. So Watchfire is a manufacturer. We make LED signs, scoreboards, billboards. So if you're driving down the highway and you see an LED billboard, that's something similar to what we make, maybe even one of ours, or the signs that you would see in front of churches, schools, businesses that are kind of advertising what's going on in the inside of the business. Those are our two main product lines, and then we also do scoreboards, everything from digital scoreboards to the normal scoreboard that you would see maybe at a YMCA gym or something like that. About a 90-year-old company. Obviously not doing LED signs for that entire period, but started in signs roughly about 1971. I've been doing some form of signage ever since then. We're headquartered in Danville, Illinois, have about 475 employees. Not all of them are here, but nationwide. And then we've been a Syteline customer and user for well over 20 years.
Cool.
Great. Thank you, Adam. I think one of my favorite signs is one, I think it's in a casino somewhere where it kind of wraps around the entire entrance of a restaurant with menu and good looking food and all of that.
Yeah, and you guys also do so the other really one, my other favorite is the downtown Vegas. The whole roof is Watchfire. So if you ever
Fremont Street,
down there
yeah,
and watch that show, that's a big one. That's all Watchfire signs. So it's cool. All right.
Awesome stuff. So thank you for that. I think, Bill, you want to talk a little bit about the overall architecture? And I know, Adam, part of this is future as you're looking to move to CSI.
Yes. So clouds, Watchfire has a longer term mission to move from Syteline on-prem to CSI in the cloud. But as part of that, one of the things that Watchfire wanted to get a start on was basically simplifying the financial reporting process and to help Adam and his team, with that. So on the left side, this is the initial model we used, or the initial architecture. So we have Infor and they own Birst on Infor. That's your standard enterprise license. So most of you probably have that. But once again, nothing we're using in here really requires enterprise. We pull off of their Syteline databases. So they have a number of databases currently. And then we pull that through a Birst agent on site, pulls right into Birst in the cloud. And then everything you're going to see today is hosted off that. Now, in the future, they're going to move over to Infor Cloud Industrial. So, Cloud Suite Industrial. Man, I apologize. I'm going to get in trouble with my partner people. But anyways, so at that point, we're going to go from the ERP through the data lake directly into Birst. The cool thing is that since there aren't, we believe that we should be able to make that transition pretty easily, because at the end of the day, the tables that these folks use for most of these are pretty much standard. And this is one of the opportunities that a lot of Cloud Suite Industrial folks have when they go to the cloud, that, from one customer to the next, the underlying data sources from a BI point of view are standard. Okay. So that's where we will move. And that's that. Do folks have questions about that? That's a pretty big difference. So most people on Cloud Suite Industrial, if you want, just give me a thumbs up if you can figure out how to do it. Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's that slide, Craig.
Okay. So I guess, just back to a little bit of a background on us, Bill.
Sure. So we're Agile Dragon Group. We are a bunch of Birst services folks. We were really part of Birst before Infor purchased the product. So we are basically, that's all we do, build Birst solutions. We've got our Dragon Den community, which we'll touch on in a bit. That is really our open knowledge base. So any Birst customer, you're very welcome to join. We've got a lot of good Birst basics. Dragon Grid is our visualization tool. You'll see that today. The actual grids that Adam presents that show a financial visualization where you can roll up and roll down. That's our Dragon Grid. That's a Birst add-on. It's really pretty simple. We're building out our own Dragon Pack. So those are our own packaged and solutions. So we've done a number in Cloud Suite distribution. We're working on Cloud Suite Industrial now, and financials is a place where we're starting to focus. And then we also do just general custom Birst work across the different N4 ERPs. So we do some M3 work. And then we also, there's always work that falls outside of a cloud suite. For example, Watchfire, I know down the road, they want to add some service metrics, et cetera. And they actually leverage Salesforce to do all their customer, management stuff, right? So who's got tickets, who's got issues, et cetera, et cetera. That really lives in Salesforce. So down the road, there's going to be some custom work there where we've got to tie that CRM information back into what's going on in Syteline or Cloud Suite Industrial to make sure we've got a full view. Okay. But once again, we're really a Birst partner. And that's all we do. It's not a side hustle for us. That's literally all we do. Okay. Thank you for letting me beat that horse.
Thank you, Bill. I guess just where and how to find us. We're on Infor Marketplace now. We've worked hard with Infor product managers to make sure that our solutions are, first of all, approved for the marketplace, but also align well with Infor's core products. And so there's a couple QR codes if you feel like pulling out your phone, and certainly we'll leave these behind as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. So nobody could speak better to this than you, Adam or Alex. What is the before?
Sure. So today we do not use the Syteline ERP financial reporting package. We have it's a little bit better than the standard, but it's very archaic. It's a software program called Timeline that generates our P&Ls, balance sheets. But there's a lot of drawback to continue to use this, which is what drove us to Bill and Craig and wanting to hook up with them and the Agile Dragon team and to look at Birst, because, for number one, we're entirely reliant on a consultant to make any changes to this. It's a pretty complicated software system. So even if we want to edit a report title or, some subheadings or anything like that, we're going back to the consultant, have to be on their timeline. With Birst, we're actually able to make edits in real time, do things that we want to do. It's also very time consuming because every time we want to generate reports, it could take up to an hour plus depending on what we're doing within the system. So, you just kind of, you can close the books and then you've just got to sit there and wait and you're kind of at the mercy of the system to crunch through the numbers. And, with that, you also have no real-time reporting. So, if you want to come in on a day-to-day basis and look and see how the balance sheet or P&L is trending, that's really not an option with Timeline. And then, our remaining reports are all generated either by our internal IT department or through spreadsheets. And through Birst, we've seen, multiple options of moving some of those reporting reports into Birst and making them more real time and, taking out the manual user element there.
Thanks, Adam. And I think one of the other things we've talked about a lot is the financial reports that you get, they're monthly PDFs, right? And so there's no other way that you get to analyze that data. So that's one of the things that resonated with me that you were talking about. So I'll just say, again, for the premise of Birst, much more modern system. It's a BI tool that does pull out data and provide a lot of different data transformations and analytics so that it is always available. It does open it up for use outside of, it can make those financial statements as you need. At the end of the day, a PDF that goes and sits in 10Ks or reported in other ways, but mainly lets you use your data in other ways that you want to use it. And another thing maybe be good to hear about is how Watchfire's business is far from static. You're looking at other companies and acquisitions and things like that. And really, I think you're looking at probably pivoting to a next level of growth, and you want to make sure that you have a system to support it, right?
That's right. Yeah. And, I think also, one thing that really drove us to Birst is one, it is, kind of system agnostic in that, so if we hook up with another company, have an acquisition that maybe isn't on Syteline, we recently bought a company that's on Sage, we're converting them into Syteline, but if for some reason that was delayed, we could still through Birst roll up, consolidated financials and be able to not have to worry about, getting it into the ERP if that, just wasn't possible from a time perspective or whatever. And really also this third bullet point here, I think is also pretty important to us is, as a Syteline user, we would go in and, purchase price variance is a good example for us. We would pull up the general ledger, see a big purchase price variance and want to analyze it. And you have to go multiple screens deep, may have to get other people involved to get that analyzed. And it's really just because the system doesn't give you a great way to join data that is in multiple tables. Our understanding from talking to the Infor folks is it's kind of behind the scenes in the general ledger, but there's no good way to see it. And Birst allows you to actually get to the item, maybe the vendor, the PO that actually caused the purchase price variance there in that example, and see what happened, and really eliminates the back and forth of, switching between multiple screens and takes the burden off of others in the organization, because we don't have to go to them to dig through their data and figure out what exactly happened.
Awesome, thank you. And I guess I just add one other thing to kind of the overall Birst premise, that it being Infor's standard offering for BI platform, and it does sit within Infor OS and the rest of Infor products. And so while it does offer that transition piece, there's a lot of other reporting tools out there, right, that I know a lot of people are using, maybe it's from Tableau to Power BI to whatever, but that it is all part of the same security mechanism and part of the whole cloud suite that you're on or moving to has been a big advantage, I think not just for Watchfire, but other Infor customers that we work with for Birst solutions. Okay, moving on. So I know we're not complete, wrapped it up with a bow, but maybe a little bit more, Adam or Alex, on how is it going so far?
I think it's going pretty well so far. I mean, I think what we're really seeing here is, as CFO, I also manage our IT team, and a big significant portion of one gentleman's time is just helping us with various reports and pulling things out of the ERP that isn't necessarily easily obtainable. And as I mentioned before, we also have an outside consultant for timeline. So we think we're going to be able to get rid of a lot of the burden on the IT team, and then also we obviously won't need this outside consultant anymore once we move. There's readily available data. Every morning I'm able to come in and able to generate a fresh balance sheet. I can kind of spot things in real time if things are going awry with a particular account, and run it down in real time rather than having to go through the rigmarole of going through Syteline and running a GL detail and then figuring it out. You'll see in a few minutes that we're able to, if something is wrong, get down to the general ledger detail from Birst rather than having to go back into Syteline and take a look at anything. Reports are definitely tailored to our needs. I'll be able to show you a backlog report that we have that is very much customized to our tastes and needs for the business. And that's something that we really didn't have before. We had, a backlog report, but this has just given us a whole new level of analysis for that particular report, which is pretty significant for us just because we're running a manufacturing business, and you want to know what orders are coming and when they're expected to come and, what stage of the process they're in. And as I mentioned before, timeline was a huge drain on, time and, rerunning reports and generating reports. And, with Birst, it's all real time and is not, getting drugged down by a cumbersome system here.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think that we can take
a demo, man.
So I'll stop the share.
Adam White, do you mind pulling up you got a copy of the mixture as your demo version and not the production. Yep. But I am proud. This is exactly what's in production. Just some data obfuscation that we've done for the report level. So at the end of the day, this is their production environment. It's just you can't tell what it is. And they're a lot smaller than this.
Yeah, Bill was nice, inflated our numbers for us a little bit. So, but anyway, this is the report I was just talking about, the backlog report, and there's a lot of level of detail here that we're able to get to. Obviously we're able to see, the total backlog, multiple filter options. And so, we've got different weeks here, is this order within the sales department? Is it engineering? Is it in production? If we just want to see any of those orders, we're able to filter on there. By division, we segment our business into several divisions and then also subdivisions. We're able to get all of that here through this dashboard. As you can see, there's drop downs to be able to get, to the higher levels. And then, if you want to get even deeper, we're able to go there as well, by customer. And then, also we're able to get to, by a specific date if we so chose. Visually it's nice, for other executives in the company to be able to take a look here. There's a nice heat map. So if they really don't want to dig into the details, they can see where most of the backlog is logged in the system here. Obviously a heavy concentration right here, which is our engineering. But you can kind of at a moment's notice just see, exactly how things are flowing through the system and if there's any, potential issues coming down. See a few other features that are nice. Before we were only able to see the sales on the backlog. We weren't able to really understand if there's, an order that, possibly has an incorrect cost on it or just something that has a stinky margin. We're now able to see, these are our finished goods weeks. We're able to see kind of how things are trending on an overall basis for those weeks. And then also able to drill down within and see, all right, on a specific order basis, how are things trending? Is there anything we want to go look at? and, all the other, pieces of the dashboard then, drill down into that particular subset. Down here, we've got, the weeks here, again, all drillable. So to get down to specific orders if we want. Same thing by sub-channel, able to get down there. So this is just easy levels of detail that we're missing before. It was, pretty cumbersome to get to anything of this level of granularity. And then if you just wanted to see, hey, here's the full population of the data, it's right down here at the bottom of the report, and it's all exportable. You can put it in PDF if you just want to send it off, something like that, or Excel, and you want to analyze it. So, really much quicker and better analysis than anything we ever had through Syteline. I'm going to pause there if there's any particular questions or anything.
Adam, this would usually have been just like a whole bunch of Excel work, and it would have been repetitive Excel work.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So
Yeah.
this is just out of the box every morning when data is updated.
Exactly. Yeah. To get this level of data before, as Bill said, we would have had to download a spreadsheet and someone would have had to comb through it and filter it. And, it just didn't download in a way that was easily manageable. So this makes things much easier. And, from a financial standpoint, production materials, it all works across the company to meet, multiple users' needs.
And your fiscal year month is actually tied to your fiscal year month as well. So you can actually leverage this against your financial calendar as well.
That's correct.
Awesome.
All right. And then the other piece that we were going to show here, we've got a pretty nice trial balance here that, is much easier, I think, to use than what is in Syteline out of the box. I mean, these are our fiscal months. Obviously able to take a look, see what the balances are at the end of those months, or the current month if we're looking at October. But as I said, it's much easier if we look here and maybe you said something here, this is one of our cash accounts, maybe something looks off there. You're actually able to click here and get down into the details of those transactions and see exactly what's going on. So it's much easier, much nicer, rather than all right, I ran the report, this looks off, let me go back, get one that's full of the details, wait for that to generate. It's all right there. So going back to
and this is directly out of your journal. So people need to understand that this is drilling directly down to journal entries.
Yeah, our data refreshes overnight, and so everything posted through the end of business on Friday is here and available for us to look at. We're able to filter by fiscal year. We have multiple account categories and classes, so we're able to get down to, if we want to see, for instance, all fixed assets or all receivable accounts, cash, whatever, we can do that by account or account name. And then the other piece is we have multiple companies that are in multiple databases. And so, if we want to see any of those companies on a standalone basis, we're able to then filter down and see that if we need to, and then you get the same look for those individual companies, and individual transactions are behind the balances. And then as Bill wanted,
this is the piece de resistance.
So this is the template that we've got going for our balance sheet. It's a little bit simplified, from what we would show, just to make it easier for the demo here. But it's, similar to the trial balance. We've got filterable options, by period or fiscal year, by site, which is, the various companies. And then we could also see, if, for instance, in historical periods, we've got some obsolete accounts. We'd like to see those, and see what, something happened back, 10 years ago or whatever. We're able to get to that pretty easily as well. So nice roll-ups here. And then, you're able to then go down and drill in. So, you can see the consolidated cash balance. And if you want to know the subcomponents of that, you're able to get down into the individual accounts that we saw in the GL. So again, if something looked off, you simply go back to the trial balance, and, you can go from there and drill down into the detail. this has been very nice and easy to work with in that we're able to actually map where accounts go within Syteline. Because before, what we had to do is we really had to map things twice. So if you had a cash account, you had to map it, and all of the parameters within Syteline. Then we had to go over to Timeline and essentially redo that same mapping. And it was just really, a cumbersome process because you're doing it twice, and then also, we're also able to figure out, if there's accounts missing or anything like that here because we're out of balance, where before we had to wait on the system to generate a report that said, hey, these are the accounts that need to be mapped, go map them. We're here, if something isn't showing up, we're going to be out of balance and notice it in real time rather than waiting till the end of the month to figure out why things aren't tying out.
Yeah, and I think that's huge that you folks that Watchfire went through the effort of leveraging Syteline in this process. And at the end of the day, if you need to add an account, you can just add it to your Syteline chart of accounts, and then it will flow through into Birst and pick up journal entries as they're made without any interference outside of Syteline.
Yes. And
go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, go ahead, finish your
thought. No, and that a lot of people have to go back through that. So we know that. So for example, there's some older N4 tools out there. There's one called F9 that a lot of folks use, but it's an Excel interface where when changes are made, you actually have to update all the reports in order to have it roll up. Here, Alex can create the report, add journal entries, and you guys will just see this roll up as part of the financial statement as soon as the next refresh.
Yeah.
Bill, you guys did have a question.
Oh, we do. Sorry.
It says, do you have, Kurt asked, do you use unit codes for the financial reporting?
Yes, we do internally. We use unit code 1 to segment by department. And then we're actually just now starting to use the rest of the unit codes because we recently acquired another company. And so we're using that to segment site and then, some other sales categories as well.
Yeah. So as long as it's captured in Syteline, then that can be fed through Easy Peasy or CSI. It can be fed through Easy Peasy and become a filter however you need to use it or a dimensional value.
Yeah. And the other thing we're doing to speed up the close is because, as I mentioned, it automatically refreshes the data overnight, but we're actually going to build a button that Alex can use to then refresh the general ledger in real time. So if we post an entry, realize, it's wrong, or we want to make another adjustment, he can go in and post the entry and then, refresh. Where, with as our other system, it would have been, another, hour plus to, go in, refresh the data, realize you made it an incorrect one. You can see how that could really stretch out the close process if, you had to make multiple changes and rerun the reports multiple times. But here it'll be a real time thing.
Yep. And for you Birst folks, all we're doing is adding a little bit of incremental logic to the load so that when they go out and load, right now we're burning in production. We're making sure everything is footing nice. But then once we move to the incremental side, we're talking about just picking up changed records. And so the load's going to go, down to like 3 minutes. So when you need to make a number of updates at the end of the month and correct things along the way, as you figure it and balance it out, it'll be pretty quick and easy.
Yeah.
And that's old school Birst. That's nothing whiz bang or new. That is just how Birst works.
And here's an example. I wanted to show you guys, example specific to our business of, how I mentioned that, all of the fields aren't always readily available in the same screen within Syteline. So we produce signs and we've got, some language in our terms of sale. So basically if you order it, you bought it. And so if we produce it, it sits in our warehouse for 30 days. It should automatically title transfer to the recipient. And so, obviously that is not something that would be easily managed within Syteline. And so Craig built a report here that is able to tell us, hey, what orders are eligible for title transfer? He's able to add in a calculation field. And, so we're able to go in at the end of the month and figure out, hey, this, should be title transferred. Maybe something shouldn't be for another reason. But, this is something that, today is a download of data. Someone in our materials team has to manipulate it and get it just so, and then figure out this subset of signs that are eligible for title transfer, and now it's, took, the 2 seconds that it took to refresh the data, and we're able to see what's eligible here. So, I hope that kind of helps explain a little bit about why, we were driven to Birst and being able to actually get reports that are meaningful and are able to be used the way we want them to be used.
Yeah, and this kind of thing can really help speed up a business process and reduce, and Adam, are you guys able to, when you title transfer it, then once they own it, can you guys like charge them rent, to like store it? Yeah.
Yep. Storage fees. And yeah, so we've got another report, for signs that, are, need to be charged storage fees, so really if it's mineable out of Syteline, we're able to get it into a report, and there's a subset of this, and I was able to essentially recreate it. And, so, I'm not a technical whiz, and I was able to get it just fine. It was, pretty easy for me as a user to figure out, it's kind of just drag and drop fields and filter, and there we go.
Yeah. And most of your training came out of the Dragon Den.
It did.
And not only did we got a lot of people who register, but not a lot of people who do the training. And Adam actually did the training, so we can do it. I was very proud. Watchfire has been awesome to work with because they really understand. They take learning this seriously and don't look for, you know what I mean? It's there. They take advantage of it.
Yeah, it was pretty easy to grow and create a dashboard after that. And it just, it didn't really take a lot of time or effort to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. And what do you guys have as the next steps then, do you think, Adam? So you got this. We've talked about a couple of other options, but what are, if you look down 6 months, where do you guys think you want to go?
So we're, right now, the next things in process are to get a more detailed P&L, and then being able to get subsets of that P&L. Somebody mentioned unit codes. And so, we like to be able to give managers, their departments, as far as what they've spent, budget, and so forth. And so that's another feature that we plan to take advantage of is so, if our marketing director logs in, she's only going to get, based upon her, credentials, she's only going to get the data that's applicable to her. So she's going to be able to log in, see her departmental budget. Maybe she needs some sales data. If we want to give our sales directors or sales VPs access to sales data, again, their credentials would only log into the relevant information and be able to see, the specific sales channel and orders that if they wanted to, had some interest in taking a look at. So in addition to the P&L, we also want some more granular sales reporting. So we're planning to build reports that show sales and margin by product type, and then also by territory. So we can see, what products are performing well, what territories. And we're going to do this both on the selling and the incoming order side. So I think those are the two big things. And, as Bill mentioned earlier, we also have some service data that we'd like to get into Birst. Again, it'll be, pulling things from Syteline, Salesforce, and we also have a phone system that our service team uses. And, we're going to be able to intermingle all of that data, where before that would have been, a nightmarish spreadsheet project for someone to take on.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Alex or Craig. What do you think?
Oh, no, thank you very much. It's a great demo. I was just going to see if there are any other questions from anybody out there.
Any Birst or project questions, please shoot.
Anything.
And I know right now, Cloud Suite Industrial doesn't have a lot of pre-built content. Infor has built out pre-built content for a number of the other verticals. I believe that they're a number of months away from releasing anything pre-built for CSI. But other questions, folks? What is a time frame for setup? It really depends. How long did it take to set up data flows in Birst? Do you have different data models you implement to create these reports? So I think it really depends on what you need. what we have right now is probably a much better understanding of financial data. So replicating a lot of this would be a lot quicker now that we know, because Syteline and CSI really are very similar, obviously. I think our project was about, Adam, I want to say we were about 5 months in this. But part of this is also, part of that was we weren't full-time driving this either. So it was, it was probably about 3 months full-time. Would that make reach with Adam, Craig and Adam, your kind of thoughts?
Work around there. I mean, I think that, you mentioned that the data model for Syteline and CSI are largely the same, and they do resemble other Infor products where you have an orders table, order headers, and order details, or order lines, and purchase orders, and some manufacturing tables. So that part, as you mentioned, Bill, getting an understanding of that is definitely very much part of it. I two other quick questions to jump around. I think I'll go with the last one I'm looking at first from Jonathan. Is everything set up in one space, or do you have networks packages set up? One space. So I'll share some of my very, very old Birst opinions that a lot of that networking and packaging, while very useful, I would say only use if you have to, because they do complicate things quite a bit. That makes for some of the solutions built for some of the other Infor products very hard to do what Adam is doing now, which is just go in and create some reports. So we work very hard to make it as simple as we can. And then, Bill, I'll let you answer Nicholas's question. When will you be ready for CSI Cloud?
I think at the end of the day, a lot of this is relatively ready. It's not to the point of a package we would install, right? But I think, if we have a couple customers who are interested in, we'd love to find someone to work with to build this back to the standard CSI Cloud footprint. I'm thinking, it probably would be, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 weeks full time with the understanding we have now. But it also, we're still learning a bit about the underlying CSI as an animal. So, we'd have to take a look at that, but we're not talking about extremely heavy lifting as long as, your books are, consolidated within, a company, or you can at least, simplify that. One of the biggest lifts we had for Watchfire was just the fact that they had a number of databases that we're spanning across of, and we're actually rationalizing a lot of that inside of Birst. If you're in Cloud Suite Industrial and you're really just using, the standard tables, etc., then it may go a bit quicker. Okay, so Nicholas, that might be a good, if you're open to it, I'm more than happy to follow up with a deeper dive and look at what's going on your side of the wall. But I think it would be, in the weeks, not months, kind of thing. I think. Other questions, folks?
Do we answer those questions?
Yeah, you can tell me I didn't
around
answer
a little bit, but I think we did.
Yep. Okay, cool. But yeah.
So I think, sorry, Kevin, your question, how long did it take? How many different data models have you implemented? I think that is the same answer where one, right? One data model. And that's also will be nice when we get to other systems like Salesforce to bring in services and other data, is that it makes it, easily relatable across the rest of the business.
Yeah, our goal is to figure out the standard data model that supports financial reporting for Cloud Suite Industrial. You folks all have the same underlying tables within your ERP environment. So our goal is to find that 80% and then use that as an install base, and then tailor your 20 depending on how you use the application a little bit. Okay. But at the end of the day, very few people, your tables remain pretty static between customer to customer from what I would expect. And then Craig, why don't we show back? I'll show back that. Let's show back the page if folks want to ask for access to the den. They are very welcome.
Yeah, I'll just conclude here on our how to find us and thank you slides. But again, here's where to find us from the Dragon Den with training and lots of other good how-to information in there, to the marketplace, to our website.
And Victoria is our Dragon librarian. Now you can see her picture. So if you have any questions, how do you handle UETs? I don't know. What's a UET? We would probably need to have a deeper discussion.
Is that a
Nicholas.
user field?
And if you want, you can unmute yourself, Nicholas.
Is that a user field?
A custom
Yep. So we have a number of those that we're working with. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just a user defined field. So I'm by no means an expert in Syteline, but the way that it looks to us is that they're just additional fields on a lot of the tables, where once we've done the data modeling, where you understand how, say, your orders table relates to your order details or your jobs table or your other tables, then you can add and remove the different fields that you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to. So remember, we would map off what we would pull out of the data lake. So we would really just need to understand how they're entered in the data lake and then map those appropriately within whatever solution. Same thing with the tables.
But I know for Adam, for Watchfire, there's a lot of user custom fields on, say, the order. Your signs are pretty complex and by no means just a very standard order form that people take to take the order. So we were able to just bring those fields in to the reports as we need to.
Yes, I would say we have a very heavily customized setup, to the point that, if Infor looks at any of our tables, they're like, well, we don't even recognize that. So, I would say that any user defined, fields should probably not be an issue, because we have them, throughout our system.
Cool. And folks, if you ever want, we do a Birst Fridays. And now that you've been in one of our meetings, I'll get you on our email list and you'll get emails, etc. So always feel free to stop by. Always feel free to join the Dragon Den. And we're here to answer any Birst questions. If you're in Cloud Suite Industrial, you own it. And we think you can do more with it as part of a Cloud Suite than any third party, to be honest with you. I understand. That's just the way it is. And especially with all the new stuff that Infor's coming out with V2 dashboards, you're going to be able to put Birst in home pages and things like that. So, yeah, folks. Any more questions? Are we good? If not,
all right. Well, hopefully we've shared enough how to find us for any other questions. Thanks, Adam, for helping us do this and for the great demo.
yes,
Sure.
Thank you so much, Adam.
You're welcome. Yeah, and if anybody from a user side has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure that you can connect with me through the Agile Dragon folks. So,
And we're pushing them to go to the Syteline conference in Tampa, or the Sun conference in Tampa. But, if not, we'll be there, but thank you all so much.
All right.
And I'm going to get this posted out there. I'll get this posted so people can see it if they want. As long as it's okay with Adam. Adam, you okay with that?
yes,
All right. Thank you.
that's fine.
Thank you so much. All right. You guys have a good day.
Okay, take care, everybody.